Hey guys, it's Roy with Vigilant Home Inspections, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about all this rain that we've been having and what it can do to basements in Iowa and what it may have already done to your basement in Iowa. It's been one of the wettest years on record. It's wreaking havoc. I had an inspection scheduled for tomorrow morning that just canceled because the listing agent went to check on the property. The whole basement was wet. A lot of people, that I know, I've been hearing, their basements are getting wet. They're taking on water. Houses that have never been wet before getting wet. Sump pumps are great. One thing to remember is to keep your sump pump discharge pointed away from the house, and also to be checking regularly to make sure that it's working. And to have a backup. Water-powered backups are an option. We had that installed a year ago. Thinking about going back to a battery-powered backup just because of some of the potential for backflow, the inefficiency of using city water to push water out of the sump pit. And then you got your battery-powered backups that obviously, are good if your power goes out. But even with a backup, you can still have water come in. You can still have both sump pump fail. You can have your battery backup fail. In our case, the water powered backup and the primary sump pump both stopped working simultaneously about a week ago, and we got a couple inches of water down here in the basement. It actually didn't cause any damage. And the reason that it didn't cause any damage is because a year ago, after we moved into this house, a week after we closed, we had some heavy rains like this, and our sump pump failed. And they told us that this basement had never taken on water. A year ago, when we redid this, because I've lived in Iowa for 10 years, and Murphy's Law, right? Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. They said, okay, we're taking this carpet out, and we're not going to put carpet back. We're going to put vinyl plank flooring back. And then the other thing that we did was, drywall tends to wick up moisture. So when drywall gets wet, say the bottom 2 inches gets wet, well, the bottom 6 inches might be damaged because the drywall will suck water up through it. Rather than putting more drywall back that was going to get wet, right? I cut out all the drywall that had been damaged and anywhere though moisture had wicked up, which was no higher than about 9 or 10 inches. So I cut out 11 inches exactly from the concrete. Wood gets damaged too, right? So untreated wood. Luckily, because this is a basement, the baseboard, the bottom plate of the wall is treated lumber. And then you've got studs. And so what I did was I took treated plywood and cut it in 1.5 inch strips that was a 1/2 inch thick, so the same thickness as the drywall. Furred out every stud to be flush with the face of the drywall because I didn't want to put wood baseboard back down that could be damaged and would be difficult to remove if this happened again, which it did. We have this white baseboard here. It is 11.25 inches tall. It is intended for exterior install for, like deck trim boards or whatever, but it's a 3/4 inch by 11.25 inch PVC. So there's no wood particles in it. It's not composite, it's PVC. And it's not cheap, but when you consider that you don't have to paint it, you don't have to finish it, you don't have to do any of that stuff, it's not so bad. It's pretty easy to work with, it's easy to cut. You can use the same miter saw or skill saw that you would use to cut any other board. So, and then to install it, to attach it, we used trim head screws. So I'll show you what that looks like a little bit. You can see that there. When you get up close, you can tell I'm 5 feet away right here. If you were in person, you'd be able to see that a little bit, but you can't see it too much. The advantage of that is using a screw, you can back that screw out. So if we needed to, we could disassemble the trim and the flooring and pull the insulation out and dry all this out, wipe it down, clean it, let it dry, bring it down here and put it back together. What happened the other day, a week ago when this got wet, got the sump pumps working again right away, obviously. And then we got the dehumidifier going. We didn't even have to take anything apart. There's no smell. The dehumidifier seems to have been able to suck everything out. Now, if I pulled this flooring up right now, would I see a little bit of mildew under it? Maybe, probably, I don't know. But I can't smell anything right now. If I do start to smell something, I still have that option to take some of it apart, wipe it down, clean it, put it back in, right? There's nothing for it to rot or damage or anything like that. Because there used to be fiberglass insulation in the wall. Now there's hard foam board insulation in the bottom of the wall. treated plywood to fur out on the studs, PVC baseboard, luxury vinyl plank flooring. So it's all holds up really well to water. So if you are in the position that I was in a year ago and you are looking at having to put something else back where you had water damage and it wasn't 4 feet deep or whatever, you might consider doing something like what we did here. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. I'll help you out in any way I can, other than coming to do the work myself. Anyway, so have a good night.